And a very good morning, afternoon, depending on what time zone you happen to be located in. Welcome to the show. We're coming to you live from Charlotte. No, we're coming to you live from actually Denver, Colorado, but we're trying to get everything put together. We moved here with the family and everything about 4 weeks ago, try to get things done. And like I always say, if you've ever had to move yourself or your family to some other part of the country, you kind of get an idea of what I'm going through. So we'll have that all corrected soon. We are in Denver, Colorado, and you're on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network, unless you're listening to us on one of the many podcast platforms that we're on, such as Apple Podcast or Spotify or Google Podcasts. We're on most of those as well. Well, before we get started today, I want to have some great news for you if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, or if you're betting, you already did your futures betting on the Packers. Some great news coming out of Green Bay that Aaron Rodgers has shown up. He arrived in Green Bay. Looks like he's going to go in for the into the camp. Everything looks like it may be coming together. In fact, taking a look at the early lines, the boards here in Las Vegas, almost every house is now putting the game between the Packers and the Saints back on the board. So it won't be long, and everyone, once it becomes totally official, when they see him actually walk on the field and pick up a ball and start throwing it, kind of give you an idea. But for that first game that's coming up, get the Packers against the Saints. It opened as a 1-point favorite for the Saints, and of course now that has kind of changed now because of the situation with the Saints and their problems. Green Bay getting their things together. Some of the lines are having Green Bay as a 2.5-point favorite. Some of the lines have them as a 3-point dog. It just all depends on which house you happen to be dealing with. But at least the good news is that it's back on the board, and it looks like that's going to be the situation. And it looks like maybe Mr. Rodgers is back in town. And if you like the Green Bay Packers, if you're a fan, if you've already bet on them or you plan on betting on them, the doors should be opening soon at most of the sports books. So if you're interested, start getting into it if you'd like. And also, in the meantime, if you live in Arizona, I have some good news for you too, because yesterday the Grand Canyon State announced that legalized sports betting is going to go live. And you know the date they chose? Thursday, September 9th. The same day the NFL has its opening night showdown between the Cowboys and, of course, the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, see what's going to happen, but even DFS, fantasy sports, may be even opening on August the 28th. But it's good news as far as you guys that are living in Arizona. So welcome into the fold. Be glad to have you here. Arizona has now become somewhat of a model state for legalized betting, both in terms of the competition and the quickness and ease, how quickly it came into the market. They're very quickly. On Monday, we saw the state's Department of Gaming post its legal sports betting rules and also opened the licensing application at the same time, which is absolutely quick. The state is set to allow 20 different mobile operators, which already includes books like DraftKings, FanDuel, Barstool, PointsBet, and Caesars, but they're going to be allowing at least 20 different ones to come on board. The number of mobile operators is much more than other states have, which is great news if you live in Arizona and you're going to become a bettor. Now, putting it more simply, there's going to be more books, which allows more bettors, giving you more options to place your bets and get better numbers. It's what it's all about. You're going to be able to get great, better numbers. That's the whole story. That's one of the keys, believe it or not, to getting on the plus side at the end of the season of whatever season you happen to be betting. While mobile is set to launch first, retail betting in person is expected to follow not long after that. Sportsbooks were set to launch at the Phoenix Suns Arena, the Arizona Diamondbacks rest place, and the Arizona Cardinals Stadium. So everything is getting into place, and Arizona could quickly become one of the fastest growing legal states that we have right now. It's home to over 7.5 million people. That's so many people living in Arizona, making it the 14th most populous state in the country. It also is strategically located. It's next to Southern California and their market, as well as New Mexico and the Texas markets to the east of it. So welcome to Arizona. If you live in Arizona, you're finally going to get a good shot at it. You're going to be ready for the Super Bowl. Be ready for that. So good luck. I hope you guys do very well. And of course, we should be picking up some more listeners. And of course, if you're a contrarian bettor, understand something. More general public bettors are going to be coming into the market, which means much more highly elevated favored positions because we know just how the new bettor, the general public bettor, thinks how they bet. It's to the advantage of the contrarians. We're going to be picking up more points, and we'll go into more about that as we go into the season. But in the meantime, let's take a look at what happened yesterday. There's only one sport we need to talk about, and that's Major League Baseball. Now the favorites, they went 6-3, but just some big upsets yesterday. The Mariners at a plus 155 against the Astros, and of course that's a game that we had picked as the Astros because that's what the pros were picking. And the big story there is that the Astros were actually ahead 7-0 at one point in time, and everything kind of went the other way. Now the Braves were a plus 135 against the Mets in that game one series as well, and the Royals being a plus 110 against the White Sox for their sixth straight win. Royals are now six straight. We'll cover that when we talk about winning and losing streaks. The favorites still lead. They're at 58.3%. The overs are 5-4 yesterday, so they increased their lead, even though it's not very big. It's at 50.2%. So that's the story as far as what happened yesterday in baseball. Good news in Arizona if you live there, because you'll be able to start making bets real soon. And of course, if you like the Green Bay Packers, if you're kind of leaning to betting on them, or you already have, okay, well, look at it this way. Looks like Mr. Rogers is back in town. So that's the major stories for today. In the meantime, we're also going to go into talking about the three games on tap for today. We have three games to look at. Washington against Philadelphia, the White Sox against Kansas City, who is now on a 6-game winning streak, and of course, Oakland against the Padres. Those are the three games we're going to take a look at the line movement on, give you an idea as to which direction the pros are going. We'll also bring you up to date as to how this little method system, whatever you want to call it, is working out. So that's the story for what's coming up after the break. Now, if you've listened to the show before, you know that we take 3 breaks within the show. And of course, each one is of about a 1-minute duration, so it's not that long. Just kind of gives us a chance to get a quick sip of water and get right back into business. So let's get that break out of the way. And just a reminder, when we come back, we'll be looking at those 3 baseball games on tap for tonight. We're going to be talking about the winning and losing streaks. And of course, like I said, Arizona's coming into the fold. Welcome, you guys. I hope you have a great day. So let's get started. Get that first break out of the way. We'll be back in 60 seconds. And welcome back. Welcome back into the sports wagering zone. I'm Chris Pardo, coming to you live on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network. Also, podcasting on most of your podcast platforms, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, you name it. We are most of them. And of course, we're on Blackjack TV as well. If you're out in the East Coast watching Blackjack Television, that network, we're on there as well. And of course, we're also on milehighradio.com. So we're easy to find, easy to get to. And I hope you're enjoying the show. And of course, again, as always, if you have any comments, by all means, just send them along. Send them to the Sports Wagering Zone at gmail.com. Now, let's take a look at the three games on tap for today. We have three games we're going to look at. Take a look at the line movement in these three games and which direction they're going to kind of give you an idea in which direction the pros are going in these games. Now, once again, it's just information for you. Not saying you should bet every game the pros are betting on, going along with them, or you want to go against them. It's totally up to you. We're just letting you know what they're doing, which direction they're going. We leave it up to you to make your decision as to what you want to do with that information. So to begin with the first game on tap, around 7 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern time, of course, Washington Nationals, 45 and 54, playing the Philadelphia Phillies, who are 50 and 49. Now, the Phillies, they shocked the Nationals 6-5 last night. They cashed in as minus 125 as the home favorite. Now, Philadelphia won in the bottom of the ninth because Andrew McCutchen got a 3-run walk-off home run. So, if you were betting on Washington yesterday, you're kind of looking real good going into the ninth inning. But, we've all gone through this before. Last-second fumble, interception, home run, these kind of things kind of come. That's parcel of betting. That's the story. So McCutchen hits a 3-run walk-off home run. Philadelphia winds up winning. If you had Washington, you were a loser. If you had Philadelphia, now all of a sudden you're a winner. Minus 125 on the money line. The Nats have now lost 5 games in a row. So the Phillies have now won 3 of their last 4. And in tonight's game, the Nationals start their right-hander, Eric Fedde. He's 4-7 with a 4.88 ERA. Now, the Phillies, they come back with their lefty, Matt Moore. He's 0-2 so far this season. He has a 5.79 ERA as well. Now, this line, as we take a look at it, it opened and Philadelphia was a minus 115 home favorite. Washington was a plus 105 road dog. Now, the pro money in this game has really gotten down on the Phillies. They're looking at them as a short chalk price. But by putting their money in, they drove up the numbers from being a minus 115 to being up to a minus 125 on the money line. Now, short home favorites. Now, these are home favorites that are minus 140 on the money line or less, are at 58.5% so far this season. Good for roughly plus 30 units. So if you're betting in units, you have an idea. If you would have been playing with Philadelphia, you would have, and teams that are short favorites, 140 or less on the money line, you would be up by 30 units at this point in time. Now, the home favorites off of a win. Now, a home favorite who won the time before is at over 61%. If you would have bet on those teams, you'd be up 11 units at this point in time. Now, the Phillies are 30-19 at home this season. The Nationals are 18-29 on the road. Philadelphia is 35-30 against right-handed pitchers. Washington, they're just 12-17 against lefties. That's why you can see why the heavy money from the pros is going in on the Philadelphia Phillies in this particular game. Washington Nationals on a 5-game losing streak. They lose one more game, and they may fit into our system of talking about winning and losing trends, but we'll go into that later on. Meanwhile, the second game we're looking at is about 8 o'clock. You got the Chicago White Sox at 59-41 in Kansas City to play the Royals, 43-55 this season. Now, the Royals came up really big for the pros and for us contrarians in last night's opening game. They beat the White Sox 4-3 as plus 110 home dogs. Now, Kansas City has now won 6 straight games, while Chicago is down to 1-4 over their last 5 games. So, in tonight's rematch, the White Sox, they come in with their righty Dylan Cease. He's 7-6, 4.21 ERA. And the Royals come in with their righty Brad Keller, who's 7-9 with a 5.84 ERA. Now, as we look at this line, it opened with Chicago minus 135 road favorite, and Kansas City a plus 125 home dog. Now, the pros seem to be buying low on Chicago. They kind of think that Chicago will get back to their winning ways once again. And we've seen the White Sox move from being that minus 135 up to minus 145 on the money line. Now, Chicago has cashed at a high rate when they're expected to win. They're 51-24 this season as a favorite. Now, on the other side, looking at the Royals, they've gone 22-39 as a dog. Chicago also has gone 40-31 against right-handed pitchers, while Kansas City, they're just 28-41 against right-handed pitchers. The White Sox are 26-14, which is 65% following a loss this season. So anytime you look at the White Sox, if they lost the day before, they're at 65% probability of winning the day that you're looking at it. So like today, looks like everyone from the professional standpoint is on the Chicago White Sox to come back. So the first game we talked about with Washington Nationals against the Phillies. In that game, the pros are on the Phillies. In the second game, the White Sox against the Royals. The pros are on the White Sox. We have one more game to look at, and that's the Oakland A's against the San Diego Padres. And we're going to do that as soon as we take our second break. We'll come back and talk about that and also kind of give you a rundown as to how we did yesterday and how the system or method, whatever you want to call it, has been doing so far in the month of June. June is slowly coming to an end, kind of give you an idea as to how it is doing. So let's get that second break out of the way. And just a reminder, we'll be back in the sports wagering zone in 1 minute. And welcome back. Welcome back to the Sports Wagering Zone. I'm Chris Pardo, coming to you live right here on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network, as well as podcasting on most of your podcast platforms, such as Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. We're just going to not talk about that anymore. We're on most of them, very easy to find. Welcome to the show. We're glad that you're on board and listening. Thank you very much. We totally we appreciate it. We try to talk about it and say, yeah, people are actually listening to us talk about our thoughts and ideas, along with some other people's thoughts and ideas as to how they should be betting their money. It's very, very simple. And I'll tell you, it's very, very important because we have, especially me personally, I kind of feel that, reputation's on the line. Got to try to do the best I can. I want to do the best I can. Hopefully, we're doing the best we can. So we're looking at 3 games on tap for tonight as far as the line movement is concerned and which direction the pros are going. The first game we looked at was the Nationals against the Phillies. The pros are on the Phillies. The second game is the White Sox against the Royals. The pros are on the White Sox in that game. And finally, we got one last game to take a look at. It's the 10 o'clock game Eastern Time. The Oakland Athletics, 56-45, down in San Diego to play the Padres, who are 58-44. Now, both these teams are playoff contenders, and they're both also looking to snap those little losing streaks. Not very big, just kind of small ones. The Athletics just lost 3 to the Mariners, while the Padres just lost 2 straight to the Marlins. So, in tonight's opening game, Oakland comes out with their righty, James Caprillion. He's 5-3, 2.65 ERA. San Diego comes back with their right-hander, Chris Pardo. He's 6-6 with a 5.17 ERA. Now, as we take a look at this line, it opened with San Diego listed as a minus 130 home favorite, and Oakland a plus 120 road dog. Now, the pros, they've pounced on the Padres at home. They steamed San Diego up from minus 130 to a high of minus 150. Now, home favorites of minus 150 or more that are coming off a day off. In other words, they didn't play the day before. They have a rest day in there. Those teams are at almost 67% this season as far as winning is concerned. Let me tell you that once again. Home favorites who are at a minus 150 or more on the money line, and they're coming off a day off, are at almost 67% as a win percentage so far this season. San Diego, of course, falls into that category. Now, non-division home favorites receiving 10 cents of steam or more are at 62%. So if you would have been just betting non-division home favorites that are moving 10% of steam or more, you'd be up 24 units at this point in time. Now, interleague home teams with the line move in their favor are at almost 60%. San Diego is 51-31 as a favorite. Oakland is 13-18 as a dog. So the Padres, they're going to, of course, lean on their bats once again in this one. San Diego is hitting at 244. They're ranked 9th in baseball as far as batting percentage is concerned. Oakland, meantime, is hitting at 233, which ranks them at 25th. Now, Adam Frazier, who leads Major League Baseball in hits, is expected to make his debut tonight with the Padres. They just picked him up in a trade from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Adam Frazier will be in uniform, and he will be playing for the Padres tonight. So that's the story on that game. The pros, like the San Diego Padres, all the analytics seem to be pointing toward the San Diego Padres. So to run down the 3 games again for today. Nationals against Philadelphia. The pros are on the Phillies. Kansas City against the White Sox. The pros are on the Chicago White Sox to come back and get back in their winning ways as well. Meanwhile, the late game where you have Oakland against San Diego, the pros are on the San Diego Padres in that game as well. So that's the roundup of the 3 games that were looked at. The line movement let you know which direction the pros are going. So let's take a look and see how bad they're doing so far. Yesterday, because once again, you can use this as a key. You can look at it and say, well, yesterday we had two plays. Braves against the Mets in game one had the Mets. The Braves won that game. Okay. We also had the Astros against Seattle. We told you about that game with that 7-run lead. They couldn't hold on to it, and then a big home run that put Seattle over. So those are two losses. So coming off of yesterday, they had two losses. The day before, they had three plays. They had two winners and one loser. So if you look at the last five games, you had two winners and three losers. So you can look at it from two different perspectives. You could say, well, they lost three in a row. So, maybe they're ready to finally catch one this time. Maybe they're going to come back into the win column. Or you could say, hey, they're in a little bit of a tailspin right now. I think they're going to lose. Their choices are going to be losses again today. So kind of give you an idea as to which way you can look at it as to whether or not you want to deal with it at all. Okay. Now you may be looking at a game like Washington against Philadelphia, and you say, I'm kind of leaning to Washington, but I'm not kind of sure. But let me see. The pros like Philadelphia that game, maybe they're right. I'll go with them on this, or I'll go against them on this. That's, again, totally up to you to figure out. And so far in the month of June, we had 50 plays altogether, 25 winners, which brings us right at 50%. And of course, within that 50%, you did have some underdogs. And when you're betting on underdogs, you're getting some plus money. So, more than likely, if you look back at those 50 games and if you bet every one of them the way they came out, you would more than likely be ahead at this point in time. Now, also, we're taking a look at the winning and losing streaks. That's important as well because one team, two teams now come into play. You have Texas, who's on a 12-game losing streak, and they're playing Arizona. So you want to take a look at that game. You might say, are they still going to go on and lose game 13, or do you think it's time for them to kind of try to win a game? And keep in mind that we're using 6 as the number to determine whether or not it is a trend, a streak, or whatever you want to call it. Now, because now we look at Kansas City, who's playing against the White Sox. We told you the pros are leaning to the White Sox. Kansas City right now is on a 6-game winning streak. So according to our way of looking at it, they are on a winning streak. Now, whether or not you want to bet them to go to number 7, once again, totally, totally up to you. So that's the story as far as winning and losing streaks. We talked to you about the 3 teams that are on tap for today. So let's take a final break and we'll recap most of the stuff we talked about today, kind of in case you tuned a little late, and kind of bring you up to date as well as that is concerned. So just a reminder, you're in the sports wagering zone, and as always, we'll be back in 1 minute. And welcome back. Welcome back to the Sports Wagering Zone. I'm Chris Pardo. Thank you very much for listening. We're right here on the I-95 Sports and Entertainment Network, coming to you live from Denver, Colorado, in that area. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you're listening to us on I-95 or perhaps on one of the major podcast platforms that we are on as well. So a quick recap of what we talked about today. First of all, the big news, Aaron Rodgers, according to all reports, has come back to Green Bay. It looks like he's going to go to camp. And if that's going to be the case, and it looks like that's what's going to be happening, because already some of the sports books are starting to open the doors and you can start betting on the Packers, whether it's that first game against New Orleans or if it's looking for game totals. We'll see how they turn out now that looks like they're gonna be playing Rodgers this season in Green Bay. And also the big news in Arizona. Arizona now becomes another state coming into the fold, and they are doing it at a very fast pace. It looks like by opening day on September 9th, they're going to be ready to go. They're going to have mobile betting. They're going to try to have up to 20 mobile sports books available to you. And what does that mean? As a bettor in Arizona, you'll be able to look for and get the best line possible. We always preach that. You got to have at least 3 different sports books that you're dealing with. The more you're dealing with, the better chance you have of getting a better line. We all see how sometimes a half a point in either direction will make a difference as to whether you win or lose a particular game. So that's very big news. Arizona coming into the fold. Over 7.5 million people live in Arizona. Looks pretty good. And of course, as a contrarian, we love to see all those new bettors coming into the fold. So that's the big news for today. And of course, a rundown once again of the 3 games on tap for tonight. Washington against Philadelphia. The pros are on the Phils. The White Sox against Kansas City. The pros are on the White Sox. But if you're looking for winning and losing streaks, according to our numbers, Kansas City has won their 6th game. They are now on a 6-game winning streak, which puts them into that category of being in a winning streak. Of course, you may think 8 is the number or 10 or something of that nature, but for our purposes here, so that we keep everything the same, it's at 6. Kansas City has a 6-game winning streak going so far. Pros are on the White Sox. Meanwhile, Oakland is at San Diego against the Padres. Pros are on the Padres in that game as well. And one other game in the winning-losing streak combination, you got Texas, who's at a 12-game losing streak. They didn't play yesterday. They had a day off. They're playing Arizona. Arizona, if you've been following them all season long, they are without a doubt the worst team in Major League Baseball. So maybe tonight, Texas may finally break that 12-game losing streak and become a winner. If they do, we'll talk about it again tomorrow, because now if they win, they fall under another category, which is called, of course, the swagger theory. And we'll go into that tomorrow if that should actually happen. So that's the story for today. Like I said, the big news, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's going to come back to camp. So he'll be with the Packers. If you're a Packers fan, it's good news for you. If you like betting on the Packers, or if you've already bet on the Packers, as far as game totals are concerned, and you're in the high number, feel good about that as well. And take a look at perhaps now the Vikings will no longer be the number 1 pick in the North as well. We'll see how those numbers come out after the sportsbooks digest all this information. We'll hear more about it probably tomorrow. So it's Tuesday. Have a very pleasant day. And if you're going to be betting today, of course, we hope you have a profitable day as well. But in the meantime, we're here every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, it's 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm sorry, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. That's where I am right now. So it's 12 noon Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. So we'll be back again tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Time. I'm Chris Pardo. Thanks for listening. Have a pleasant Tuesday. And like I say, if you're betting, I hope you have a profitable one as well. Goodbye, everybody.